Hi.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you.
We're good.
We're really looking forward to speaking with you today.
Us too. Very excited.
We've seen that you've got some like little notes, so we don't really know what they are. You've just been given them, but hopefully our questions are similar. Otherwise, you're gonna be
On
thrown
the
in the deep
spot.
end. Yeah. But
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so we'll just jump straight in talking about flies. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
okay, so flies. I'm just gonna read you like the little briefing that we've got, and then in your own words, you guys can sort of explain a little bit more as well. So I've got flies as a radical response to William Golding's classic Lord of the Flies, exploring topics such as consent and the fetishization of the female body. This show is full of tales of girlhood and the messy joy and sticky shame that comes with it. So then, how do you guys want to sort of market flies in your own words?
I mean, that does say a lot of it, but also I think for me, it's about a universal experience under the male gaze and, how we all fit into that and how we can live in that but also find the joy in living still. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about that feeling that every woman has, and coming from girlhood to womanhood to trying to figure out what the pathway is, trying to navigate it without any roadmap, any, advice, and trying to find the sort of the joy in it.
Yeah.
The joy in being a woman.
Amazing. So you both studied at the Brit School. What did that experience teach you, and what lessons have you brought to this project?
Wow. Big question.
Big question,
That's a big one.
I think Brit is an amazing school. I think I just learned so much there. I think mainly like Brit gives such a joy to acting, and I think it gives you such a free space to create things that you love and that you're passionate about. And this play links in really well with that, because obviously this is something that we're all really passionate about too. And so I think ultimately, like, at the heart of it is the love that we have for it and the love that we have for what we're speaking about as well. Which I think either of us took from Brit.
For sure. I mean, Brit was like, it's not just an education. It's a community. It's a lifestyle. It's a feeling. It's, it teaches you everything you want to learn. It's not just within a curriculum. It teaches you like people, and it teaches you everything that you need to communicate with someone clearly. And it really, there's a lot that it's taught us that I guess we can bring into the rehearsal room, because it's like, not only did we really sort of delve into a lot of political and personal subjects at Brit, it gave us that armor and that sort of personal protection to be able to enter a space like that, to deal with such a vulnerable subject matter
safely.
Yeah, safely, and really be able to find the truth in it without having to hurt yourself within the process. So it's really helpful.
Yeah. So with the Lord of the Flies sort of referencing, we all learned that at school. I'm sure you guys haven't studied it in depth as well. How is that sort of the link to this specific production? Makes sense. So did you have to study Lord of the Flies in detail before you were able to like immerse yourself in this, or what was your kind of like process with the like that of the context?
So initially, I think the play was originally going to be a female take on Lord of the Flies, but it kind of moved away from that slightly. It's still referenced throughout, but it's kind of moved into more of, like I said earlier, more of our female experience. And so we didn't sit down with Lord of the Flies to study that, because I think what we're doing is taking ownership of it and kind of slightly moving away from it, and kind of using our own voices to be like, well, these aren't the stories we want to tell anymore. We want to tell our own stories. And so as much as Lord of the Flies is referred to throughout the piece, isn't the basis of it. The basis of it is our like universal female experience that we've had.
It's we kind of use it less as a reimagining and more as a paradigm of all of the classic literature that excludes the female experience. And really sort of use it as, like I said, a roadmap to navigate everything that comes along with the idea of having, you know, the classic is all of these boys stuck on an island without the authority of grown-ups. But for us, it's being stuck on the island of the male gaze with the authority of the patriarchy over you. And how does that, you know, there's a word that I'm looking for.
Work, like
yeah, let's just go with that.
Yeah, so you mentioned like classics. So we learned Lord of the Flies when we were in school. Do you have any other books or plays that you remember learning when you were in school, and what are some of your favorites?
I mean, first off the head has to be we did, I know it's more like a theatre play, but we did an Inspector.
I was just going to say an Inspector Calls.
Yeah.
We put it in English with a bit of drama. That was like the main one.
The thing about it is that now there's like this sort of inside joke of our generation where we're like, bruh, do you remember when? We're like, he's really like the inspector in this. Like, it makes you laugh.
I actually loved it. Inspector Calls. I remember doing it, and I was like, "This is kind of good." Like, I hate to admit, but
drama. Oh my god,
it was like good. Yeah, and I did of Mice as well.
Yeah, Mice and Men was
nice. Of Mice and Men was fine.
Yeah, we did of Mice and Men.
What else we did? Macbeth was
Then Shakespeare.
Lady Macbeth. Wrong woman.
We did a lot of Shakespeare. I remember doing like A Midsummer Night's Dream and Romeo and Juliet, which was interesting as like a 13-year-old.
Yeah, literally.
Like, but very nice. So what's been your favorite part of the process so far working on Flies?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is just the giggles, which I know is not like the professional side of it, but having a cast, I think that we get along so well, we relate so well, and we like genuinely care for each other. We, you know, having the safe space of just being like, oh, we're dealing with a very heavy subject here, and then being like, yeah, but we can have a laugh still as a company and feel that care for each other, which is that's my favorite part of the rehearsal process.
That was literally going to be one of our questions: is how do you find the small cast, and is it sort of helpful and beneficial for the performance? So I guess you've answered that with yes.
Yeah, it is a really nice room to be in. Like, there was I think with like the amount of us being the 7 of us as well, there's so much that we can talk about, and everyone's got like different opinions on things, and like, you know, we've really bonded already. We're only on day 3, you know.
My God.
But yeah, I know.
Day 3
of like full-time rehearsals. Yeah.
Do you guys know each other prior, or have you all met in the last?
Yeah, well, kind of. So we were in like different year groups at Brit. Like,
I think we spent like 3 years at Brit as the 7 of us. So we've known each other,
known of each other, kind of known each other, been best friends with each other. Like, you know, it's different throughout.
Yeah. Like I've met Annabel whilst at Brit on like several occasions, and always been like, because I was a couple of years younger than you, I'd be like, I saw you playing, it was great, blah, blah, blah. And now we're in a rehearsal room together. I'm like, Annabel, can I just grab that top? Is that right?
How did the casting come about then? So how did you all land in this production?
So we got an email from Brit, and Brit held the auditions at the school, and there was like a big group of us. Then we did just recalls, and then narrowed it down to the 7 of us. But it was also just so nice. Those auditions were so fun because it was like the past 3 years of Brit all coming back together, and such like, and we all, obviously Brit is such a home, so it's so nice to go back there to do.
And what was lovely about the audition process, it was more like it was workshop auditions rather than individual auditions. So it kind of eliminated that very sort of like actor thing of like, oh, I'm in an audition, other people are here, it's competition. It's like, oh no, we're working together, and what comes out of it will be great. Oh, sorry. Love that.
No worries.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming at Brit they prepare you for audition scenarios. How do you find that process, and like, have you done many auditions leading up to this moment?
Yeah, a few. I feel like this one was quite different to auditions that I've done previously. I think that the vibe and the tone of Flies was set from that very first audition. Like it was very ensemble and very energetic and just fun from the very start.
It's comfy.
Yeah,
it's a comfy like feeling. Yeah, it's again, auditions are very different to, you know, like I said, usual one is like, oh, competition, like who's gonna get what, and like maybe even like walking into a room and seeing about 20 different people who look kind of like you, but are all kind of like different versions. And like, wow. But walking into those rehearsal rooms, you're just like, oh, this is a day to like hang out, have fun, and just like, you know, really work together.
Amazing.
It's good that they look after you after, I think, as well, because it's nice that you don't just get that attention while you're at the school, and they're actually sort of forwardly looking towards your career as well. So is it nice to kind of be in contact still and have that relationship with the school?
Oh my God, yeah. Like, I think it's so important. This is like, we have this hashtag at Brit called #always_Brit that's always mentioned throughout Brit. And you always hear it whilst you're a student there. But genuinely, like, it actually isn't just a hashtag. It's so true. Like, that sounds so cringe, but it's actually so true. Like, they do look after you as you go into your career, and they are always there.
Yeah, they are like, they become a rock for you throughout your life. And especially like, I mean, we used to use #always_Brit, ironically, and that was just unironic. But like, no, yeah, #always_Brit. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's really nice to just have that sense of community and almost family, because it is that really, the training that you go through at Brit is very, it's not so much, you know, academic based, but more emotional based. It's not so logical as it is, you know, emotional. So it's interesting that you have those however many years, you know, building those emotional connections. And it's not like, oh, you graduate now, yeah, go do what you need to do. They're still there for you, they still hold you, which is so nice.
Yeah. So this is both of your professional debuts. What are you most looking forward to for the show itself, and then also for the future?
Oh,
big question.
Big question. Big question.
I think from this play, I think there's going to be lots of very interesting and fun conversations that come after it from the audience. And I think that's what I'm most excited for. And obviously, every audience is going to be different, and all the responses are going to be different because it's going to be different people. And yeah, I think that's what's most exciting for me. And then in terms of as well in life, what I'm most excited for, I don't know, you
okay, all right, okay. I think for me, it's the audience reaction, not something necessarily that I get to see, but you know, reading that script for the first time was such a visceral reaction of like, oh, this is hilarious. Oh my God, I really relate to this. Oh my God, I feel this. And like, I'm really excited for the audience to feel that and just sit there and have that reaction. Because I'm just like imagining coming off stage and being like, so guys, what did you think? Like, I want to know how people feel about it, because it's such not emotional, but it's a visceral play. It's about something that is like very rooted in feeling. So it's interesting to be like, I'm really excited for you guys and what you're gonna experience. So yeah.
Well, that was interesting you said that, because one of the questions we had written down was about what you want the audience to take away. So obviously you've said you're interested to see what they interpret it as, but if there was like an ideal way that they could interpret it, what would you want that to be?
I think understanding. I think because it's this is a very, I would say, and you know, I'm going to stop myself. I was about to say a very niche experience for young women, but all young women feel it. So it's an experience that a lot of female identifying people, sorry, be real, not helpful.
Yeah, just got that too.
Yeah, it's something that is very tailored to the female experience, but I think we want people the audience especially, to come away, no matter who they are, where they come from, what gender or race or religion, whoever they are, to have an understanding, to watch it and go, oh, I get it now. So yeah,
Yeah, and also like I would say to someone that hasn't had the lived female experience that's watching it, like this play is also for them as well.
Yeah.
Like it isn't just for people with the female experience to sit and watch it and be like, yeah, I relate to this. Like it's also for other people too, and that it doesn't exclude anybody. Yeah, so that's quite important to take away.
It's really important because it's not just, we're not putting this play on to be like, oh, this is an experience we have and we want you to watch it. It's more, this is an experience we all know happens. Let's all talk about it.
Yeah. Maybe it's more important then, or equally as important, that other people come to see it that don't have that experience, because then it's from them to see it. You know, it's all well and good us going and saying, yeah, well, we're relating to that, but we also want people to understand from other points of view. So yeah, really interesting.
Exactly. I think we don't want the audience to be observers and passive. We want them to be able to feel included and active in this discussion, this conversation. And that's what we're really going for.
Nice.
How is your relationship as actresses with the rest of the like production cast and crew? Because I can't like have you gotten to know the writers, the producers very well, and like how's that been?
I mean, the whole crew are so much fun. It's so much fun. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so great.
But Charlie Josephine, who has obviously written Flies, wrote I, Joan, such an amazing person.
Yeah. I've been a big fan of Charlie's work for a while, so it was very exciting. But the whole team are great. Like we've just met our movement director yesterday, who's so cool. And I would say everyone's really fun. Yeah, their energy is just great in the room.
Nice,
definitely.
So we're on our podcast, we sometimes talk about this is going a little bit rogue now. We're going to talk about things that you guys want to do. So if you had a dream role that you could play in the future, or if it's a dream role, whether that's like a character and something with like the tropes of a character, or if it's an existing role like Cinderella, for example, what are your guys' dream roles to play?
Okay, I've got mine.
So do I. Go ahead.
Okay, so my dream role is Elizabeth I. I would really, really love to play Elizabeth I. I'm thinking when I'm like 40. That's there's a play called Swive by Ella Hickson that I would love to be in when I'm older. Yeah, such a great
Manifestation.
I think, I got two. So first is, I love Beatrice from Much Ado About Nothing. I would give anything to, like, she's my favourite Shakespeare character, full stop, because it comes with the wit, with the shade as well. Are you kidding? Yes. And it's I'd absolutely love to play Beatrice one day, just like really just tearing it up on stage. And also, this is more a historical character, but obviously there's been a play about her life, and it's Emilia Bassano. So I'd love to. She was, again, really centered around Shakespeare here, but she was a young mixed race woman in sort of Shakespearean England, who was a poet, which is something that really resonates with me. And was, she was an activist and a bright, fiery woman of colour in a time where we don't really hear about people of colour in that time period. So it was like, I absolutely love to really get into her skin and experience her life and the way she led it, because it's so much of it parallels with a lot of people today, and that's what's really interesting.
You did such a great.
Thank you. You're great.
Oh my God. So obviously you're both extremely immersed in the theatre universe. Are there other mediums like film, TV that you're also really interested in that you might want to move in the future? If not, just what are your favorite things in that whole universe?
Absolutely. I really love like BBC Three dramas, something like Three Girls I Love. Killing Eve, Dr. Foster, that type of thing. 13. I'm actually so many Jodie Comer things here, I'm realizing. But yeah, some like gritty dramas I love. I'd love to work in some of those.
I mean, I'm a like huge Greta Gerwig fan, and just like that vibe of film, I'm obsessed with, and huge Wes Anderson fan. I think a lot of my taste in film is very dictated by Timothy Chalamet, just because I'm obsessed with him in a sense of I want to be the female version of him at some point in my life, which is really bad. But yeah, I'm obsessed with films where it's visually stunning and also really, I love stories about humans. I love stories which are a microcosm for something bigger, something where it's like you watch it and it seems like such a nuanced and niche experience, but it means so much to watch. So yeah, that's my film thing.
Nice.
Amazing.
So Annabel, I'll ask you, did you watch Prima Facie, the Jodie Comer play?
I did. I watched it in the theatre and then I watched it 3 times in the cinema.
Yeah, okay. And
it's just so beautiful. I think it's so sensitive but so true. Oh my gosh, yeah, that was, I feel like, a life-changing piece of theatre. Like, that sounds so dramatic, but genuinely, I walked out that theatre and I walked home and I was like, oh my God, and I just couldn't, I could barely breathe. It was sensational.
amazing. And Mel, what's your favourite Timothée Chalamet film?
Right, okay. It's a toss-up between Ladybug or Call Me By Your Name. Again, I just nuance of those both. And but I'm a huge obsessive Dune fan. I'm in it. I'm so ready for the second one to come out. It's ridiculous. I'm like, give it to me. I need to know what happens next. Know the story and the structure.
Honestly, I was working on a film and everyone in the production was moving on to June because they were filming in Budapest, and I joined like late to the crew, so I missed the memo of the June 2, so really upset, but okay, at least we don't have any spoilers. So
it's fine, don't worry, me and you will sneak onto that set. Just quick trip to Budapest.
But that, I mean, that's good to hear. It's coming.
It's amazing, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. We'll put all the information in the description on the screen. Do you want to tell people where they can find you and when they can watch Flies?
Absolutely. So it's going to be on at Shoreditch Town Hall. You can get tickets at shoreditchtownhall.com. We're performing, and I know it, 22nd of Feb to 11th of March. See, there you go. And our handles are, you just check on the bullshit. Okay. Our handles are at Boundless Abound, so on Instagram, Boundless Theatre, at Shoreditch TH for Shoreditch Town Hall, and hashtag, what are you looking at?
Okay, nice.
Amazing.
We will do it. We'll add it all. Thank you so much. We're so excited about it.
I'm so excited. Thank you for speaking to us again.
Thank you for having us.
For the rest of the rehearsal.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll be looking out for what you guys get up to with the rest of your careers. We're very excited. And obviously for Flies as well.
Thank you so much.
Can't wait to see you there.
Of course.
Okay, well, bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching this interview. If you enjoyed, definitely make sure to check out the other interviews we have on this channel.
And make sure you check out our podcast as seen in on our other channel. Everything will be linked in the description below.